The baptisms following Mass. I'd like to start the homily off with an ancient Chinese story. There is an ancient Chinese parable about an old man who knew he would die soon. He wanted to know what heaven and hell were like. He visited a wise man in his village to ask, "Can you tell me what heaven and hell are like?" The wise man led him down a strange path, deep into the countryside. Finally, they came upon a large house with many rooms and went inside. Inside, they found lots of people and many enormous tables with an incredible array of food. Then the old man noticed a strange thing. The people, all thin and hungry, were holding chopsticks 12 feet long. They tried to feed themselves, but of course could not get the food to their mouths with such long chopsticks. The old man then said to the wise man, "Now I know what hell looks like. Will you please show me what heaven looks like?" The wise man led him down the same path a little further until they came upon another large house similar to the first. They went inside and saw many people well fed and happy. They too had chopsticks 12 feet long. This puzzled the old man, and he asked, "I see all of these people have 12 feet chopsticks too. Yet they are well fed and happy. Please explain this to me." The wise man replied, "In heaven, we feed each other." Do you get it? I just want to make sure. Because I could see some people saying, "I got 4 loads of laundry to do. What's for dinner tonight? Would this guy shut up?" But honestly, I think this gospel passage speaks very to the heart of our call to be people who share our gifts, talents, and treasures. And to realize that this world is passing, and we're called to live a life, a holy life, by sharing everything that we have, everything that we are with our neighbor. And if I had to say one virtue that would cure what people suffer from in our lives, it would be humility. Humility is such an important virtue, one which all of the saints tried to master, but it's a beautiful virtue to consider in your life. And I want to highlight one word about humility, and that is joy. J is for Jesus, O is for others, Y is for yourself. Now, what do I mean by J, Jesus? I want to bring up a movie. Has anyone seen Chariots of Fire? Only this isn't going to make too much sense. Chariots of Fire was an awesome movie, I thought, back in the early 80s. Did you see it yet? No? Yeah? No? Well, check it out. When you get home today, you can Google this scene and watch it on YouTube. It's awesome. Check it out. Seriously. So Eric Liddell is one of the track stars, and Eric Liddell is getting ready to start a race. The race, the gun goes off, the race goes in 400-meter race one time around the track. And as he is flying, it cuts into a conversation that he had with his sister. And I'd like you to share with you what he said to his sister. And I might even do it with the accent that he had. He says, "Jenny, I believe that God made me for a purpose. but he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. The hairs on my arms stood up. I welled up with tears. This guy found pleasure in the unbelievable gift of running. That's how we find Jesus. We find Jesus in those moments, because as I'm watching the middle of this scene, you see ecstasy on Eric Little's face, and you're like, man, that guy is experiencing God in that moment. And that's what we need to work on. Our relationship with Jesus is the most important in our lives, and that helps us become humble. I'd like to point out another movie, which I think I've mentioned in the past, hopefully not to you all. What's the one with Ralph Macchio? Karate Kid? Yeah, Mr. Miyagi, right? Mr. Miyagi, 7 a.m., he's out on this log post, he's on the ocean, and he's just doing the thing, right? He is one with his God. And Ralph Macchio's watching from a distance. He's just he's amazed at how this beautiful image of how we can find God in that moment. That, to me, is what you and I should do in our lives. Find out what makes us feel ecstasy. I know, Kim, when you sing, I feel like you are one with God. You love to do it, and you're really good at it. You know, I can point out to everyone here, I know what Eric Little was feeling, because I, in my own little ways of running and biking and swimming and playing golf or whatever, that's how we find God. And that's why it's so important for us to have that intimate prayer time, that we nurture that that Jesus in us. That leads us to humility. It also leads us to be people for others, which is the O. We are so consumed with our own lives, me. Spouses, it's important to ask yourselves, is this best for the family? Or am I only thinking about me? Do I want this or do I need this? You know, I know that there are things in my life that control me. The cell phone, it controls me. Video games, right, boys? I remember when I was a kid, I used to play video. You don't play video games? There goes that example. The point is that when we have Jesus, we move into living for others. And that is what this gospel speaks about. We have to share our gifts, talents, and treasures. And we have to be people for others. And this guy in the passage did not do that. And he didn't know he was going to die within a day. And so it leads to the why, yourself. Each and every one of us are made in the image and likeness of God. And God wants us to be at peace. God wants us to experience love. But God wants us to experience joy. And so, as you think about this week, take that as a meditation. How can we grow in humility? What are the things that are controlling our lives? The addictions, the pride, the power, the physical pleasures, and really call upon God. Find that Jesus, that moment where you can be one, and ask our God for humility so that we do live for others. And I think when we do that, we do experience the true joy of what God has made us all for.